Now, recently there's been a handful of athletes that have gone on to go ahead and get a 50-inch vertical. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but these niggas ain't in the NBA or the NFL. We all know that the NFL and the NBA house some of the most physically athletic and gifted athletes to have ever walked this earth. No. Now the question is, if that's the case, why do none of them have a 50-inch vertical, recorded at least? And I picked the NBA and the NFL because it's clear that those are the two sports that are like the most physically demanding in terms of athleticism. You can go ahead and say high jump if you want to be super specific, but like, come on, man. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm gonna focus solely on the NBA, just because I'm more familiar with it. Focus on guys like John Morant, Anthony Edwards, Shaedon Sharpe. These guys with the mid to high 40-inch verticals, damn near 50, but have not passed that 50-inch vertical line. Now you might say, oh, it's obvious. They just don't want to get a 50-inch vertical. But it's important to understand why that might be the case, if that is true. Let me ask you a question. If you knew you had the physical capability to get a 50-inch vertical, would you go ahead and get it? Honest question. Like, you know, you're at a 47-inch vertical. Let's say before you even train your vertical at all, you're at a 42-inch vertical. And you know, hey, if you train super hard, I can go get a 52-inch vertical. Are you gonna spend your energy and time chasing that 52-inch vertical? You might. Now, why wouldn't you? You know that if you go from a 47 to a 52-inch vertical, you know, that's a lot of inches. That's a lot of change in your game. You can do things that have never been seen before, never been done before, all by you going ahead and pushing that standard if you have the potential to do so. But it's important you answer at what cost. Now, the obvious answer is, hey, you don't want a 50-inch vertical because you're probably gonna get hurt. Now, that's technically true. I mean, more time in the air means more time for the potential to get knocked out of the air, which is more potential for catastrophic and serious injuries. You can also make the point that if you do have a higher vertical, you're more prone to doing risky and like nonsensical attempts on the basketball court. Now let's take a look at John Morant, where sometimes he's attempting things that are kind of out of the realm of our imagination, just because he knows that he has a different ability than any of us will ever have. So you'll see him go out and attempt crazy dunks that put him at risk for injury. And because of it, he actually said he would stop dunking. Did that work out? It didn't. But he still put it out there. He says it's too risky and he's prioritizing his health over him going ahead and dunking on people. Now, Anthony Edwards went on and said something very similar. He says he hates dunking. It hurts. But with all that in mind, still, that's not the question that I'm trying to answer. The question that I'm trying to answer is, why don't NBA players go ahead and get that 50-inch vertical if they have it within their grasp? So a video dropped 6 years ago with over 10 million views on why it's nearly impossible to obtain a 50-inch vertical. Now, is it true? Technically, you could say it's true because there's billions of people that have ever walked this earth, currently walk this earth actually, and less than 1% of them can go ahead and get a 50-inch vertical. Now, do I think nobody has ever surpassed 50.5 inches in vertical, which is the current world record holder, Isaiah Rivera? Probably someone has passed it, it just wasn't recorded. But with that being said, on the topic of the video, yeah, you can make the case that it's technically correct that it's nearly impossible. Now, in the context of NBA and NFL players who are the elite, the creme de la creme. When it comes to NFL and NBA players who are the most elite athletes, I don't think it's nearly impossible to get a 50-inch vertical. So I'm referencing that video just to say context does matter. I'm not talking in terms of regular pedestrians, regular citizens like you and I. We're talking about the guys, you feel me? Now, to answer the question, I think the truth is they're just not going for it. And it's like, why would you? You know, you're an elite level athlete in your field. You've got a high 40-inch vertical, and that's the standard right now. I honestly believe that to go from 47 to 50 inches is so much work that it's just not worth it. The rest of their game will suffer. Now, someone like John Morant, why spend years trying to get 3 to 5 inches on your vertical to put you in that 50-inch range when you know you got to work on your jump shot, you know you got to work on your ball handling, your shot selection, all these other things gotta come into play. Now, when you're training for your vertical, it's super hard on your body. Even if you don't get hurt from having the additional inches, the training is just so hard on your body, it may put you into just a state of weakness. You gotta understand that at the end of the day, these guys are NBA players. They're not high jumpers. The goal is to be the best basketball player. It's not to be the highest jumper, even if that's their calling card to the league. A guy like Shaedon Sharpe has a ton of potential based off of his athleticism coming into the league. But now you can see he has a jumper. He can score the ball. He can pass the ball. He can do many things. I don't know if he can really pass the ball. I don't watch the Portland Trailblazers, and you shouldn't either. But bottom line is he has potential because of the rest of his game. Now, currently in the NBA, for example, we got like John Morant, Anthony Edwards, Shaedon Sharpe, and maybe like 2 or 3 guys who are in that mid to high 40-inch verticals. And that's it. There's over 300 people in the NBA. If you are in that top 1%, why are you training so hard to be the top guy? Like, you might as well just focus on being the best basketball player. Now for you regular person who's got a 27-inch vertical and you're going for 30, if your cap is at 30, you better chase those 3 inches for 30 because you are well below the pack. Now really the reason why I made this video is to put perspective into everything. You know, there's some people that go on this dunk journey and they chase a high vertical jump and they become a great dunker, but at the end of the day, they really love the basketball and they want to play basketball. If that's what you want to do, you got to focus on basketball. Dunking is only a very small portion, or increasing your vertical, I should say, a very small portion of basketball. It can have big impacts, but it's such a small field. You got to work on the rest of your craft to make sure you're a complete and talented player, because a vertical alone won't get you into the NBA. With that being said, if you're someone with a 30-inch vertical and your cap, for example, not that you're gonna know your cap, but just for an example, your cap is a 40-inch vertical and you're at a 30, you do have to spend more energy to chase that 40-inch vertical, to reach that cap. And let me explain why. The reason why is because you are going from below average to pretty much a upper mid average, like NBA player with the like elite athleticism at 40 inches. Like, okay, maybe not the average NBA player has a 40-inch vertical, but the average elite like guard, for example. I don't know if that's true, but you get what I'm trying to say. This is a higher standard. If you're at 30 trying to get to 40 and you know 40 is your cap, you better do the best that you can getting that cap. If you're at a 45 and you're trying to get to a 50, 50 is your cap, you don't really got to spend that energy. Like, there's no point. There's no one in that 50-inch area that you got to worry about. So if there's anything that you got to take away from this video, if you're at a further point from the average, you got to make sure that you maximize your potential. Once you're elite, those extra inches is just the cherry on top. Very like unnecessary. Might as well work on your craft and preserve your body from injuries and stress and additional wreckage. If you take note at the most recent athletes who have broken the vertical jump record, all of them are strictly dunkers. They don't do anything else. Now, I'm not saying they can't hoop. I'm just saying they make their money. Their profession is dunking. Like, dunking is what they have to do. Jumping high is what they have to do. The only thing they got to worry about. They don't have other skills to really work on besides actually dunking the ball, but they go hand in hand. So once again, a final recap. For those of you who are on your dunk journey and you're looking to get your first dunk because you play on your basketball team, you want to be the first one to get a dunk, understand at the end of the day, your vertical is just one aspect of the game of basketball. If you are looking to be a dunker, then go ahead, maximize your vertical jump, go ahead and chase 50 inches. But if you have other things that you are trying to be great at, whether it doesn't even have to be basketball, maybe you have some other aspirations that take that energy from you training your vertical jump, go ahead and balance out, because your vertical is not everything and it won't save you as a basketball player. If you're below average, maximize your vertical because you got to get as close to average as possible. If you're average, you know, train your vertical, but don't make it everything. And if you're above average, definitely work on things that you need to bring up, like that broke ass jumper. This was one of the most difficult videos for me to film because it was a mess. But new video every Saturday. I'm Jiggy Hills, bro. I'm Jiggy Hills, and I'm out, bro.